Assalamualaikum. In this video, my group will be presenting our findings for our audit planning report that is focused on Hartalega Holdings Berhad. For my part, I'll be walking you through the knowledge of Hartalega's business first and about the industry afterwards. Founded in 1988 by Kwan Kam Hon, Hartalega is considered to be the world's largest producer of synthetic rubber gloves, having exports to the Americas, Europe, Asia Pacific, and the Middle East. The company's founder and acting executive chairman, Kwan Kam Hon, is a entrepreneur who amasses his wealth as a simple house builder and later ventured his business into bandages and woven labels. Hartalega prides themselves as being the world's first inventor of lightweight nitrile gloves in 2015, which in turn causes a shifting in demand from latex to nitrile gloves. As one would expect, they are currently the largest nitrile gloves producer in the world and are able to accommodate the manufacturing of 29 billion gloves annually. As a glove manufacturer, they are capable of catering to the market demands for both nitrile and latex gloves, as it is integral to the sustainability of their business. Hartalega's infrastructure is designed to support the production of said 29 billion gloves annually. They operate from their two main sites, with 5 plants situated in Bestari Jaya and 7 plants commissioned at Sepang, which they denoted as Hartalega Next Generation Complex. Employing over 7,800 workers that spread across its facilities, Hartalega is continuing to expand their business globally in their quest for being the preferred choice in gloves. Now, I will proceed with the knowledge we obtained on Hartalega's industry. Having headquartered in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, its industry is spread across North and South America, Europe, Asia, Australia, Malaysia, Russia, and the Middle East. At present, they command about 18% of the market share in the US alone for their industry. From the historical valuations in share prices, Hartalega has managed to preserve the status quo of outdoing its rival, Top Glove, in regards to market cap, ever since they outmaneuvered Top Glove since 2013. As of August 2018, experts have remarked that Hartalega have outvalued Top Glove by a difference of 9.3 billion. Nonetheless, its long-standing contender has been creeping up against them over the years, managing to close their gap by a considerable margin of about 4.08 billion. Experts view this as a foreshadowing to Top Glove, dethroning Hartalega as the leading glove manufacturer with the largest market cap in the future.
I will be presenting the materiality in Hartalega Holdings Berhad. Materiality as the concept is the magnitude of misstatements that individually or when aggregated with other misstatements could influence the economic decisions of users. It is also initially used to determine the preliminary judgment materiality, which is the maximum amount by which the auditor believes that the statements could be misstated, and also will not affect the decision of reasonable users, and which is also used to determine the performance materiality. Performance materiality is the amount less than the level of overall materiality and is reduced in order to allow for the risk that there may be some smaller errors that may not have been identified by the auditor previously. So there are various ways to formulate the performance judgment materiality. We used total assets times 2%. Total assets because it is 5 times bigger than the profit before tax. And we decided on the 2% as Hartalega Holdings Berhad has a good audit track record with no cases of fraud. So based on our calculations, we have determined that the PGM is 5.98 million. So there are 2 rules that the auditors need to follow when computing performance materiality. First is that the performance materiality for any account cannot exceed 60% of the preliminary judgment. This would mean that our performance materiality for individual accounts are capped at 35.88 million. Secondly, the sum of all performance materiality levels cannot exceed twice the preliminary judgment about materiality, meaning that the overall total performance materiality is RM 119.6 million. So this is our computed performance materiality on each account in the SOFP of Hartalega Holdings Berhad. It can be seen here that there are 6 categories that the account's performance materiality fall into. A is the accounts in which the large performance materiality is due to the size of the account's balance and high value in each transaction, such as PPE. B is for accounts with small performance materiality because their possibility of misstatements is high and they usually incur large amounts of transactions such as trade and other receivables. C is for accounts with relatively high performance materiality due to high value in each transaction and prior account balance being reasonably unchanged, such as intangible assets. D is for accounts with small performance materiality, as the audit can be completely audited at low cost and no misstatements are to be expected, such as the cash and bank balance account. E is for the accounts with moderately large performance materiality due to high value in each transaction, but it's also easy to confirm transactions such as deferred tax liability, as you can easily contact the LHDN. F is categorized as NA, which is not applicable and is only relevant to reserves, as it is a residual account that is affected by the net amount of the misstatements in the other accounts. For most of the accounts we had allocated small performance materiality, as a huge chunk of the performance materiality was given to relatively safe accounts with big balances, such as PPE and share capital.
In structuring the audit planning, assessing the inherent risk of a company is essential to determine the acceptable audit risk and how to respond to the risk, as well as to know the amount of audit evidences to be collected. We assess the inherent risk of our audit client, Hartalega, according to a few factors. Firstly, the nature of the business. Hartalega is a manufacturer of synthetic gloves. They're selling their products to industries like industrial, healthcare, scientific, and the food industries. The demands for the products will be constant as there are customers who need the products on a regular basis regardless of the situation. The chances of any obsolescence is low due to this. The price for their products are constant as compared to like petrol prices because it is not as affected by the business cycle. The risk of misstatements is low due to the low chance of obsolescence stock and the constant price of their products. In this regards, the inherent risk is low. Second, results of previous audit. The result of previous audit plays a major role in assessing the inherent risk of Hartalega. According to their previous auditor, Deloitte, Hartalega has given a true and fair view of their financial statements in 2017 and 2018. According to this factor, the inherent risk is low. Thirdly, complex or non-routine transactions. Hartalega has issued bonus shares amounting to about 400 million ringgit. The value is astronomical. This would be an area of significant concern. They also have forward currency transactions denominated in USD and Australian dollar valued at 1.4 billion ringgit and 5 million ringgit. There might be risk of misstatements in converting the value to Ringgit Malaysia. According to this factor, the inherent risk is moderate. Lastly, the need for judgment in recording account balance. Hartalega have to use their own judgment in valuing the cost of finished goods and work in progress inventory. They also have to use their own judgment in estimating the tax expense. This will be an area of significant risk as they might overvalue the inventory and undervalue the tax expense. After assessing all of these factors, we determine the inherent risk of Hartalega as low.
Analysis is performed in order to understand the client's business and industry by relating the financial information with the non-financial information gathered of the company. Looking into the statement of profit and loss of the company, we look at the accounts of sales being the main driver of the company as shown in the slides. These high increases in sales were backed by strong global demand both locally and internationally, which were able to be met by Hartalega through their continuous effort in improving their production capacity. Hence, the profit after tax grew significantly by the following figures. Moving on to the statement of financial position, by looking into the sales account of the P&L, we derive an account which would be fact transactions in sales, as well as basing our analysis on the performance materiality done in the previous section. Accounts that have significant increases are high value in and volume in transactions have a really high risk of material misstatement due to the complex nature of these transactions, making them vulnerable to errors and can be used to hide fraudulent transactions. Thus, accounts which might have a high risk of material misstatements are PPE, inventories, trade receivable, and trade payable. Please note that these accounts experience significant increases and decreases during the two periods. Furthermore, in relating with the financial ratios which include profitability and liquidity, looking at these ratios, we see that the profitability ratio shows an excellent financial performance, as most of the ratio shows consistent and slight fluctuation in their value, except for gross profit margin, whose value is declining slightly. This financial performance aligns with the increases in net profit as previously shown. In addition, the liquidity activity ratio shows consistent index value and increasing value for inventory-related ratios for the past 3 years. More inventory is being sold every year with increasing turnover value and declining days to sell. Receivables are being received well in hand, less than 50 days, with the credit term being 30 to 90 days. Current and quick ratio shows value above 1, meaning that they are able to pay their current obligation. Concluding the excellent performance of the company, both locally and internationally, is the reason why we are looking into the accounts related to sales and PPE, as the complex nature of transaction of these accounts must be checked whether the amounts stated are fairly represented or not.
Anjay.